Hello everyone. Today's lesson is lesson 56, drawing a number line, drawing segments, line segments to the nearest inch, and locating points on a number line. So if I wanted to draw a number line, I start off by drawing a line. Okay, so lines go from left to right, just like this, okay? And we draw these small arrows at the ends of the lines to show that it goes on forever in both directions. Okay. Now we're going to write some numbers on this line. So we start off by putting a small mark. We call it a tick mark. Okay, and this is going to be our starting point with 0. Then I'm going to use an object to make sure that all of my tick marks are the same distance across. So I'm going to use this little square. So I'm going to put a line there, and then I move my square, a line here, okay, and I keep going across, moving my square, and putting another line. This way my lines are all the same distance across. Alright, so I finished marking all of the marks on my number line. Now I'm going to write the numbers starting with 0 and going across. So I start with 0, then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have just made a number line. So let's put a dot on at 4 on the number line. I do that by putting just a small dot on the number 4, like this. And then I label it a letter. So let's say this is letter A. Okay, so let's make a dot at 2 and call it B. So here's 2 with a dot with B. C should be 6. Let's put a dot at 1 and call it D. A dot at 5 and call it E. Now I want to put a dot at some fractions. Now if I wanted to do 1 1/2, well, I know on my number line that 1/2 means to be halfway in between two numbers. So if I want 1 1/2, that means I should be halfway in between 1 and 2. So my dot for 1 1/2 should be right here in the middle between 1 and 2, and that would be point F. What if I wanted to do 7 1/2? So 7 1/2. Well, 7 1/2 should be halfway between 7 and 8. So it should be right here in the middle between 7 and 8. Let's call that G. Okay. All right. So if I wanted to, I could also use my number line because it looks kind of like a ruler. Okay. So if I wanted to draw a line segment with a ruler, I'd first start off by drawing a dot. Okay, then I'd take my ruler and line up the dot with the end of my ruler, the first line. Then I would draw my line segment. Let's say I want it to be 3 inches. So I'd start at the dot and I'd go over until I reached this 3, and that's where I'd stop my line. And then put another dot next to it. Okay, so that line segment is 3 inches. What if I wanted to do a line segment that was 2 inches? So I'd start off by putting an endpoint dot. I'd take my ruler and line up the end of my ruler with the dot, the first line on the ruler with the dot. Then I'd draw my line until I got to the 2, and I'd put another dot at the endpoint. And so that line is 2 inches. Let's do one more line and have it be 5 inches. So I draw a dot for my starting point, line up my ruler, and draw my line until I get to 5 inches, which is right here with the 5. And then I'd put an endpoint. Okay. And that is how you draw line segments using a ruler and how you make a number line and find points on it. Okay, and that's it for this lesson. Good luck on your homework.